Miss Kelsey here. Today we are tie-dyeing. I am using RIT dye today to tie-dye, and I'm going to show you exactly how to use this dye to tie-dye whatever white piece of clothing you are wanting to use today. First things first, let's go over our materials. You will need RIT dye. I have two different colors. I have golden yellow and apricot orange. You can use as many colors as you would like for your tie-dye. I would suggest using colors that mix together well so that when they do mix together, when you are tie-dyeing, you won't have muddy brown patches in your article of clothing. You will also need the Rit Colorstay Dye Fixative. I have tried tie-dyeing without this and it did not work. So I would highly suggest making sure that if you are using RIT dye that you get the Colorstay Dye Fixative. You will need a bunch of rubber bands. I would suggest having rubber bands of different sizes and strengths. If all of your rubber bands are the same size, it's not a big deal, but having different sizes and strengths is helpful. You will need squirt bottles. There is also a dip method of tie-dyeing, but today I am showing you the squirt method and the scrunch method of tie-dyeing. And you will need a white article of clothing pre-washed, but it does not need to be dried. So I just washed my t-shirt and it's still a little bit damp. This is perfect for when you are scrunching your t-shirt or whatever article of clothing you are using today, because it does need to be a little bit wet. Alrighty, next I'm going to show you how to scrunch your article of clothing to do the scrunch method of tie-dyeing. After you have pre-washed your article of clothing, you are going to lay it out flat on a surface to start using your rubber bands to scrunch your t-shirt or bandana or whatever you are wanting to tie-dye. You're going to want to start in the corner and start just scrunching it together. The more folds you have, the more white you are going to have, so keep that in mind as you are scrunching. You're going to take a rubber band and however you can best get it around the scrunches is what you are going to do. Sometimes you're going to have to go around like this. Sometimes you're going to need an additional rubber band to go over top of it like this. However you can get those scrunchy pieces to look like that. And then you're going to do that for the rest of your t-shirt or whatever you are using. So I'm going to scrunch again, get a rubber band, and put my rubber band around it. You are going to do this for the rest of your article of clothing, and I will see you back to learn how to make our dye. I just finished rubber banding my long sleeve t-shirt, and now I'm going to show you how to mix your RIT tie-dye. So what you will need for each squirt bottle is 1 cup water, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1 tablespoon of your RIT dye. This is the part where it is very important to wear clothes you don't mind getting ruined. This is a very old jacket of mine, so what I'm going to do is zip it up to make sure no dye gets on other parts of my clothing. Okay, now it is time to mix. So I have my squirt bottle. You're going to put 1 cup of warm water into the squirt bottle. The more dye you have to your water, the stronger the color is going to be. So if you want a darker, more concentrated color, you're going to use less water and more dye. Now I'm going to pour in 1 teaspoon of salt. Next, 1 tablespoon of my dye. I have half a tablespoon measuring here. It's just easier to get it into the bottle with this one rather than the full tablespoon. So I'm going to do 2 half tablespoons of dye into my squirt bottle. Next, I'm going to put on the lid and put my finger on the top so it doesn't get everywhere. Shake it so that the salt is nicely incorporated, and then my dye will be ready to tie-dye. I just did the golden yellow that I plan to do on my t-shirt, and then next I will do the apricot orange. Then I will meet you outside to show you how to use the squirt bottle method to tie-dye your article of clothing. Alrighty, I am now outside and I have my squirt bottles with my 2 different colors of dye. I have my t-shirt, which is already bundled with my rubber bands. It is on a cookie sheet wrapped in a plastic bag so that it is easier to pick up and take to different places. Alrighty, so what we're going to do is just make sure there are some white patches, but make sure you have quite a bit of dye where you want it. So I'm going to put, this is actually, it looks red, but it is actually my orange. It'll turn out looking orange, like a light orange. So I'm gonna put this throughout. Make sure you have enough to go on both sides. So I'm going to do this side with my orange. Next, I'm going to switch over to my yellow. Now remember, where all those folds are, that is going to be where your white is. So I'm going to fill up this with my yellow, and then I'm going to flip it over and do the same thing. Now it does suggest that you wear gloves. Unfortunately, I do not have gloves, so I might have some tie-dye stained hands for a couple of days. Dyeing my long sleeve t-shirt. I'm going to let it sit here for 30 minutes outside, and then once those 30 minutes are over, I'm going to show you how to use the stovetop method with your RIT Colorstay so that your colors on your tie-dyed t-shirt stay nice and vibrant. See you in 30 minutes. Hi everyone, back from those 30 minutes waiting for our dye to set into our clothes. This next part an adult definitely needs to do because not only are we working with the oven, but we are working with very hot, almost boiling water. So I have 1 1/2 gallons or 24 cups of water at almost a simmer in my big stainless steel pot. I have 1/4 cup of the Colorstay Dye Fixative. I'm going to pour that in here, and then I'm going to take my bound t-shirt and put this very carefully into the water. Then I'm going to continue to stir it for 20 minutes. So the 20 minutes is now up. I am going to dump the hot water out and replace it with warm water, and then gradually cool it until it is all rinsed off with cool water. After it is rinsed off with cool water, I'm going to wash it with gentle detergent on the cold cycle in my washer. Then you can dry it as usual. Then you should have your brand new tie-dye t-shirt ready to wear. I can't wait to show you how mine turns out. Hi everyone, just got my shirt out of the dryer. The last time you saw me, I had that big pot that I needed to dump out and then fill with warm water and then eventually rinse off my bound shirt in cold water. And then I threw it into the washer on the cold cycle, very important. And then I dried it as usual, and this is the result. I love how it turned out and I can't wait to see what you create. Bye everyone.